What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show. This is the SnobNation Morning Show. I started on Sunday. Give it a new try. See if it fits. See if Sundays fit. You know, and we've been doing Fridays, and we came back, started doing Fridays. So we're back again with an all new Sunday. So if Sunday fits, people like it. We may try it some more. May go back to Friday. So I'm not sure. There is a lot changing here at the Scene Snobs. There's a lot I need to address too. A lot happened in the past few days. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining in, James. Just a quick address because we are going to talk about a lot today. I want to talk about RDJ a little bit more. We did there's a clip coming out today where we talked about that. There's a clip out that where we talked about that. The clip today is about reminiscing about video stores and such, which is very cool. And that's a clip from the Scene Snobs podcast. So you can go listen to that anytime. It's out there. But you can't watch it until tomorrow. We may start doing pre-shows live, then start the show, do the show, and then take those pre-shows, add them to the podcasts, and then add them on the during the week on the YouTube channel, because there's going to be a bunch of stuff changing around here. We're going to be maneuvering a little bit, and we want you to come with us. We want you to do that stuff. It's not about ending things, fixing, and nothing like that. It's just pushing to one thing. You guys may, and again, I'll get into it more in the podcast this week, but you guys may see that I'm not on Facebook anymore, and I'm not, because yet again, in 5 years, I have received a death threat. My family has received death threats. My dog received a death threat. Whether it be by PR reps who are unhinged, whether it be indie filmmakers who are unhinged, whether it be people who watch the show have done that as well. I don't know why in 5 years. I don't say anything salacious. I keep away from salacious. I keep away from all that stuff. So I am opinionated, but I'm opinionated on my platform. I'm opinionated on my social media. Not even like the Scene Snob social media. I'm opinionated on my personal stuff. And, I'm opinionated on my shows and stuff like that. But I really, I don't mind. I got people who are liberal. I got people who are conservative. I got people who are all over the place who identify as different things. And, you know what? I don't care. I respect you. You're all awesome. Even people who threaten me. I mean, I don't know what it's about. Mental health, things like that. Like, I can tell you what happened. I even have visual proof of all of them, which is the funny part. It's just insanity that people will be willing to say this. But yeah, I wanted to address it because it has come up. I've been asked about it quite a bit since Friday, but I left Facebook not just because of that. In the same week, in the span of the same week, I had two friends who have been friends since college. I guess we're not friends anymore. I mean, I could go into why, and I don't want to because I'm not going to besmirch them in any way or anything. And they have their opinions, and I have my opinions, and that's what those two hurt. The death threats, those are ridiculous, and the fact that you're doing it against my family, especially when I don't. I haven't said anything about anybody. I haven't talked shit about anybody. I haven't said anything. I just didn't understand. And that has happened concurrently over 5 years. So with that being said, I'm sort of done, especially with Facebook. Facebook is a cesspool. I hate Facebook. So if I lose momentum, followers, I thought about that a lot. If you get off social media, you can lose a lot, So I thought about that, and I gave it a lot of thought. And I've been giving it a lot of thought for a while now. Not that I want to, push anybody away or anything. We love having people, and we love the Snob Nation. And the Snob Nation is made up of all different types of people, and they get along. That's the best part. I love that. There are people who identify as everything in the Snob Nation, and it's not about hate. And then when it is, it's talked about. And everybody's generally pretty cool. So I need to foster that. I need to stop the social media, the putting it out there. You guys want to know what we do? Come see us. Be a part of the Snob Nation. We'd love to have you. Support, do those things. But a lot of the people who are coming at me don't support the channel. maybe they've donated to charity events. Maybe they've liked stuff on Facebook. Maybe they've shared stuff on Facebook. And that's support, and that's great, and that's fantastic. And I love that, and I appreciate it. But they're not in this nomination. They don't watch the shows. They don't do it. And I appreciate likes. I appreciate that. So I appreciate donations during the charity events. That's amazing. And that goes towards different types of charities. Like we try primarily to help kids in most of those charities. So, always appreciate it, but it doesn't go to me. I don't keep the money. It goes directly. It never even touches my hands. It goes directly to the 501c3 organizations we choose. So with all that being said, I'm slowing it down, but I'm slowing it down for a reason. I'm sitting here trying to pump out videos every day about stuff that I care about, but not care about to sit in front of a camera, edit, and do all this stuff for 6 to 7 hours when I could be utilizing that time fostering the Snob Nation the right way, not coming in and trying to reach everybody on social media and have a good time and really expand the Snob Nation out and come on in, we want. No, because then I'm losing touch with the people who do care, who do support. So we're going to change it up. We'll always be there, except Facebook. We'll always be there. We would love for you to be a part of it. But if you don't, I'm going to stop trying to get. If you don't feel like doing it, maybe down the line you will. I'm going to stop trying to push for you, because there are people here who want to be here. There are people here who want to be a part of this, and they do really appreciate support and care. And maybe one day you will too. But for now, I need to foster that. I need to be there for this nomination more and more. So how does that look? What's that going to be? Well, we're off Facebook for those reasons. And honestly, in the 2 or 3 days I've been off of it, it has been the most peaceful, because over it all, over life threatenings, losing friends, all that stuff, I chose I could either fight this, and I did I tried, I pushed. I could either fight this or I could choose peace. And you can call me a pussy, you can call me whatever you want. I don't care. I choose peace. I am a very lucky human being with the friends I have, the family I have, just the life I have. And I'm very appreciative of that. And it took a long time and grind and fighting and still continuous fighting and grind and everything else every day to have that. But I worked at it. I became a better person for myself. I did what I had to do. And I'm genuine. If you don't believe that, I don't give a fuck. And I'm going to say that straight out here on YouTube. I don't give a fuck if you think I'm genuine, because the people who know me know I'm genuine. And people who know me know that I'm all about peace right now. I've been in a violent past. I've been through it. I want peace now. I want comfort. I want niceness. Now, maybe that stuff won't come, but I can choose peace. So I went on a little bit of a rant there. We're going to talk about some fun stuff today, but to answer some of your questions about where we're going. So we're going to be doing the next 10 weeks, our lead up to a 5-year anniversary, 5 years. And yes, all of that stuff has happened within 5 years. I've been doing podcasting for 13. The Scene Snobs as an entity has been around since 2013. I've been writing on the Scene Snobs Facebook page, started out as Movies 365, switched over to, I don't know, maybe a year later, switched over to the Scene Snobs. I've been posting under it, things like that. So that's been my thing for a long time. But in 2019 is when I started the Scene Snobs podcast, the first one, the one that I was doing on my own, producing, and I was excited. So I did that for 5 years, built this up, and now I want to take it in a different direction. How do I want to take it? Do I want your money? Of course I want your money. I'm kidding, of course. I do. It does help if you want to support, but no, I'm never going to pull or I hear a lot of things like that. So I try to be not greedy about it. I just try to run the channel and, get it to a point where it can pay for itself and maybe me a little bit for all the work I do and the people who work with me, of course, first. So I truly believe that the philosophy for a long time was put your stuff out there, put your stuff out there, put yourself out there. Now I'm starting to feel like after 5 years, it's time to foster, like I said, foster those relationships I've built, foster all of that of putting it out there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and we're going to make it a real channel. All right. Eventually, hopefully we're going to have it up on certain streaming areas. We'll find out. I'm waiting. And I hope you guys will watch that when it is. But I want to have a hub. Yeah, we have the YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel is great. And I can put it all up there. But it's all up there. I want the Snob Nation to be able to get it when it comes out and be there and have all the information, our newsletters, all that stuff. So I'm going to say it. I'm going to say the word. That's a bit of a dirty word to some people. Like, oh, that's what he wants. But I'm going to tell you exactly how we're breaking it down and how it works. Okay? Not going to go fully in depth. You can ask me questions. You can always email me at thescenesnobs at gmail.com. You can always message me here on YouTube or Instagram or any of the social media sites I am on. So, what do I say that this? Okay. Where do I bring this? Where do I take this? Okay. So, I want everybody who follows and truly watches, truly listens, truly engages, truly is a part of it, wants to be part of the Snob Nation, wants to be at that point where we're going to all get together and we can hang out, talk movies, TV, geek, everything else and more. I want you to have fun doing the live. So there's so many great people who join in for these lives. Jeff's here. James is here. 2 amazingly great people I love talking to and engaging with. So what I want to do is I want to get everybody to go over to the Patreon. Yes, there's the dirty word. I understand it's a dirty word. But Patreon, just like a lot of them out there, have both paid tiers and a free tier. The free tier will get you our newsletter, get you all our public posts, get you extra from our letterbox, get you our extra reviews. We will throw other stuff up there. Right now, we're doing a giveaway of the popcorn bucket, Deadpool popcorn bucket, and the Wolverine cup to literally anyone who is a part of the Patreon. If you are on the Patreon free tier or paid tier, one of you or 2 of you, I should say, are going to take away one each of these. It's going to be great. And I hope you be a part of it and join up. And we're going to be doing giveaways like that, whether it be popcorn buckets or whether it be, maybe we'll do merch. We'll do other stuff. We're going to do some fun stuff, though. So we'll be continuing the giveaways, things like that. We're doing on the podcast and spinning the wheel, and whoever wins, wins. And that'll be great. And we're going to grow that out because once you join our Patreon, either free or paid, not only will we have giveaways, have perks, like the paid tiers have a lot of perks. You can do AMAs with me. You can do, we can set up AMAs with other, like the Betting Bros. I'm sure they would love to do an AMA and talk betting and NFL and things like that. They have some super smart dudes. Like you can ask them anything, and you should. Paul, I'm sure wouldn't mind doing AMAs if you want. So like we're here on the Patreon, and I realize I'm overselling AMAs, but we do them, and we have lots of other perks too. We'd love for you to go check out. Merch giveaways for people who've been on for a certain amount of time, and all of that money goes, like I said, goes back into helping the channel. Now the free tier, we love having you guys too, and we want you to be a part of the Snob Nation. So, but if you can't or you don't want to at the moment, or whatever reason, that's your reason. That's okay. It's your money. But we want you to be a part of the Snob Nation, so we want you to join so you get all of those, even the free perks. But also you can join the Discord on any of the tiers. And when you're a part of the Discord, you can talk and you can hang out. You can have fun. That's what I want to foster. I don't want to post on Facebook political opinions. I don't want to post on Facebook my feelings and how the world's going, or all that stuff. I want to talk about the stuff, even if it is that stuff. There's ways to talk about it, and we do it peacefully over there, and people are really cool. And if you bring it and you come there with peace and benefit of the doubt and hanging out, like, it's always a fun time. So that's what I'm asking for. I'm being more direct now, because I'm going to tell you, you don't make millions of dollars being a podcaster unless you're rich and you started one, or you're famous or whatever. You don't, like, this is all work. We're doing this to entertain it. I'm talking about all podcasters. This is over things. So rather than trying to get everybody who I know which is unattainable. Rather than trying to chase down money or trying to chase down this, that, or the other thing, I just want to build this awesome community. That was always the point. So, and rather than like trying to like keep throwing a name out there, I'm going to direct it more towards the end. Try and bring it back a little bit and work with the people who want to be there, you know, and hang out with the people who want to be there and talk to the people who want to be there and learn about the people who want to be there and stuff like that. And we want you to be there if you want to be there. So join up on our Patreon. We're going to be moving all of our lives. All right. August 6th is our 5-year anniversary. 5th is my nephew's birthday. That's why it tripped me up. But August 8th on the SnobNation podcast, we're going to celebrate the 5-year anniversary. And then after that, all lives are moving behind Patreon. Every live show is going to move behind Patreon. This, Get Geeked, all live events. If we do charity events, everything is going to be on the Patreon. A week later, it will be on the YouTube. That's all video. All of our videos that go up on YouTube come out on Patreon first. That's going to start. So everything is going to go to the Patreon first. The Snob Nation gets all of our stuff first. And then if free or paid tiers, doesn't matter. And we encourage the engagement from the Snob Nation. Then it will go up on the YouTube. So you can follow the YouTube, subscribe over there, hang out, watch those videos at any time, which would be amazing. Goes a lot to support us. Subscribing over there, following, commenting. All of that puts us in the algorithm. Really helps, and we truly appreciate it. You will be able to listen to the Scene Snobs podcast right after the live show. We will still put it up. You can go listen to it. And like I said, it's going to have that added extra in there, which the video will not have. The live video will not have. It will for the Patreon, for the live. Like if we do a pre-show or something like that, or we go longer or whatever it is. Those will be there for the lives. But then when they're on Facebook, they'll be edited out. And then those portions might end up on YouTube or whatever else at some point. So the point of this is go follow the Patreon, join up in the Discord, hang out with us, have a good time, be part of it, be part of Snob Nation. We love having you. And that's what I'm going to focus on now. So that's where my focus is. So we're going to still continue to do lives here on YouTube. We're still going to focus on Twitch and doing things. We're going to start gaming too, which is going to be exciting. Games we want to play too, or some recommendations from people who are like, hey, check this out. Stuff like that, like from the Snob Nation. Like, I can't wait. I'm super stoked. I appreciate you guys following me here, hanging out. So you can join here on the Patreon, or down in the description is the link. Like I said, just follow for free. See if you like it. You can always unfollow and not follow anymore if you don't like it or you don't like what we're putting out. But if you do feel like, hey, and I want to get geeky with the Snob Nation, get geeky with the Snob Nation. Have a good time. We love movies, and we know you do too. So join up. So now you know how to do it. Now you know where we're going with it. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them for you. Happy to talk to them about it. No, I'm not going to be talking about the death threats or anything like that I talked about earlier. No, I'm not going to name anybody's name. No, I'm not going to say anything about that. Else past this, I may talk about it on the podcast a little bit because it's going to come up. Again, I'm not going to give away any names because, again, I'm choosing peace. I don't want anybody's life to be over. I don't want anybody to be canceled. I don't want anybody to be this, that, or the other. I'm choosing peace, and I'm walking away after a very intense weekend. But I am excited. Not weekend, more of a night. Like, I was fine the next day. But but then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? Stop going after and trying to seize more followers who don't want to be there and start working with the ones who do. And I think that's an important distinction between entertainment and wanting to sort of be a celebrity in a way. And I never want to be a celebrity. So like now let's just hang out, Snob Nation. So I want to say that. All right. So my message is out there. So let's talk about some things. Okay. Let's get into some really fun stuff. All right. So we're talking about RDJ. We did a thing about that coming back as Doom, of all things. Let me put up the banner so everybody knows what we're talking about. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Sound off in the comments. Let me know. Do you think he should be back? He is not a variant. If you guys haven't heard, it's not going to be a variant of Tony Stark. He's rumored to show up in a new Fantastic Four movie and be a part of that universe, and I guess maybe make it to this universe. that would be a great way to bring the Fantastic Four to our universe. I do think after seeing Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'm not going to get too deep into sponsors, I do think that a big plan is going to be more Secret Wars 2 mixed with Secret Wars, so that way they can end up with one Sacred Timeline universe at some point, maybe. That's a speculation now. An educated wish, if you will. So, and I like the idea of that, because bringing Doom in, God Emperor Doom is the better villain out of the two Secret Wars. Let's be real. Listen, I don't want to take anything away from the Beyonder. I don't want to take anything away from the original story, which was brilliant. I'm not saying that those characters can't be there, but Doom is an amazing villain. He's an amazing villain. And if you don't know who Doom is, at least go to the Marvel Wiki and read up on him. You know, take like an afternoon and just be like, all right, I'm going to read up a little bit, go to the Wikipedia page, stuff like that. Learn all you can about Dr. Doom and who he is, what he's capable of, what he does, and just how amazing and brilliant a villain. And also Stan Lee's favorite character. He loved Dr. Doom. Maybe not favorite character, favorite villain. Might be favorite. I might be getting that mixed up. He has mentioned Dr. Doom as his favorite. I just can't remember if he said villain or he said character. I believe he said character, but I might be wrong about that. So I just want to point that out. I talked about it on the show, on the podcast this week, so I'm not going to dive too deep into that. Will say this. It's here. It is what it is. I'm optimistic in a way. I don't think it's a good casting, only because I think anytime you bring back an actor after such a significant send-off, it diminishes the send-off a little bit. Oh, well, it can a lot of it, but this one doesn't feel like a lot of it. It doesn't take away what happened with Iron Man and Tony Stark. It just a little bit, because either bring them back, which would still diminish it, or leave it alone. Now, another way I think it could work if they do it, because Robert Downey Jr., let's face facts, a very good actor, and he's, for a long time now, especially later in his life, especially as he's been playing Tony Stark for so long, he has been like trying to get into like outrageous sort of characters. Tropic Thunder, of course, we talk about that a lot, but like this new movie that's coming out, or it's either a movie or TV series, a Max, where he plays all these different or it's one character playing all these different type of disguises and stuff like that, and he's put on different performances. He's a very good actor. He's very good in Oppenheimer. That was an off-brand role for him, and he knocked it out of the park. Like he really, he showed his acting in that. Not that he hasn't before, but like in that, he really showed his acting. Like he was. One cool thing I will say about actors. Well, I'll say lots of cool things about actors. There's some really good ones out there. And like, I'm just talking on a personal level, knowing people. I'm not talking about celebrity. And the art of acting is very cool. But one cool thing about a film set, if you have an amazing actor on your set, it elevates everyone. And the other actors around them. They're going to give way better performances than if they are on a project that has the same sort of, everybody's sort of at the same level. Nobody's bringing that elevation. And that doesn't mean it's bad. It can sometimes, but it doesn't mean it's bad. And it doesn't mean it takes away from the movie or anything. It's just that they're at that level. And we've all seen it, where we've seen movies and we're like, all right, everybody just seems like they're at the same level of acting here. Again, not bad. Sometimes that's amazing. Oppenheimer is one of them. Cillian Murphy is a brilliant actor. Brilliant. I think I think he should have played Dr. Doom, but brilliant, right? And he elevated everyone on that set. Not to mention Christopher Nolan there, who just elevates every actor who works with him. But he elevates everyone on that set. And it's not like it was a set of slouches. Everyone in that movie is an amazing all that main cast was just truly a fantastic. Emily Blunt's one of the best actors working. I don't think people give her enough credit. In fact, that scene in Oppenheimer, and this is going to come into play because I'd like to see her join up too, as something, because she could do something really cool in it. But it it just made me laugh because it's like, all right, she flipped the switch at one point where she's getting interrogated, and like you see her kind of like, and then like go real fast, real into the eyes. That's a level of acting that not many can achieve at her age. Say what you will, like you can turn, but like I'm talking a face. Uh and I think she's like 39, 38, 39. Like it takes years and years and years to, like, you see a lot of that with actors who are later in life. Like they finally they have it. They have it. And like, so she's so good. And then seeing her in other roles where she's really good too. But all that aside, to go back to RDJ, what I'm saying, RDJ is already a great actor. He's great in almost everything he's in. So he was elevated in that movie. This movie coming in, he can bring a performance that's going to be brilliant. And how can it work? All right, in my opinion, if you're going to make it work, keep him in the goddamn armor all the time. Never remove him from his armor. Use his voice. He can make a new voice if he wants. I don't care. He should have an accent. It should be Latvian, but if he never removes his armor, right? I'm not saying you can't show glimpses of him when working with Reed or something like that, or he has a life model decoy, but the Robert Downey Jr. playing the real Doctor Doom, if he is in fact the real Doctor Doom, or they're setting this up as sort of like he's in the two movies, and then the Doctor Doom is such a rich character. He should be around forever and ever. He should never sign somebody on to two movies, because what if he doesn't want to do it? He's older now. What if he just gives up and he is amazing and he keeps it on? That's another reason I'm not thrilled about it. But if he comes back and he is just in the armor, he's just in the mask, the real Doctor Doom, every time we see the real Doctor Doom on screen and we know he's out there and we know he is not taking off that armor, I truly think that it could work, because we'll forget about, but that's what bothers me about, I mean, hopefully he changed, but like, I love what they did in the MCU. And we're going to get real here for a second. A lot of people are going to disagree with me. I liked Iron Man as a kid. I didn't really read the comic books, but I liked the cartoon. I did read the comics and I read the Avengers. So don't give me shit like I don't know who he is. But it wasn't a draw to Iron Man. I just wasn't. And I'm going to give you a little heads up for anybody who may not remember. Nobody was. People read Iron Man. People liked Iron Man. And the people who were like, well, I read Iron Man, you were in the minority. Not everyone did. It wasn't huge. He was a big character in it. And honestly, you could argue that wasn't even really until Civil War. Like, he always existed. He was always an Avenger. He was always there. Don't get me wrong. He's a main player. He is not some slouch side character. You know, he's not the Red Tornado of Marvel. All right. Which I like Red Tornado. Don't get me wrong. But you see what I'm saying? Like, he's a main player, and he always has been since he's been there. More so since the Avengers and Iron Man both existed as comics. It picked up. He needed that little boost of the Avengers, I think, for his character. But again, great storylines, great character. Glad he exists. Thought it was great casting with Robert Downey Jr. Robert Downey Jr. kicked this whole thing off. It's hard to argue with him. The only thing I could argue with is maybe he's Marvel. We'll see after Doctor Doom. But if you look at it from that point of view, he comes in, he makes these great characters, but beforehand, Iron Man was not as popular. You liked him if you were a comic fan, but you didn't really think about him if you weren't. You know, and I talked to a lot of comic fans, and before this movie, not many, other than Civil War and a couple of the other big beats, they never talked about him in Infinity Gauntlet because he's barely in it. He's a side character in that. You know, like Wolverine was more of a character than he was. And that's not by much, you know, like now granted, that was a big piece where a lot of people were meant to shine, but he was important enough to consider to be there, to be in the fight. But he had maybe one line in the whole goddamn comic. So like, when we get to this and we built this whole thing off of him, Iron Man is very different. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but it's very different. It was adapted differently. I'm perfectly okay with it. I like how they've been adapting it. So we'll see what happens with Doctor Doom. However, long story short, not really, but long story short, you come back. He barely wore the fucking suit. Every passing movie, he wore less of a suit. And they actually, yes, I love that they adapted it so it could come on him quicker, but it went off of him quicker and he barely wore it. I saw Iron Man's Tony Stark face more than I saw his mask. Now, am I arguing about that in his time in Marvel? No. I like Tony. I liked Iron Man in the movies. It worked. Seeing a big star like what's his name? Robert Downey Jr. not have the mask on. I get it. He's good looking. He's pulling it off. He's fun. You want to see his facial expressions. That's not Dr. Doom. It's not. And they've fucked up Dr. Doom quite a bit already in movies. And I just like that. I think that's what scares myself. And if I can speak for fans, I think that's what scares the most, is that we are well aware that as fans, not saying me, I like them, but we are well aware as fans that when certain actors are cast in iconic roles, we can be very divided or we can be very mean. We hate it and we let everyone know, especially in the age of the internet. They did it with Michael Keaton when he was Batman. They did it with Heath Ledger, who I think was amazing. All amazing. I've always seen it, and then people like it. It's almost like being a Doctor Who fan. Like the new Doctor comes in, you hate him until you love him, and then he leaves, and then you hate the next one until you love him or her. So it's one of those things where it's like, he never kept the goddamn mask on. He really didn't. And I'm fine with that with Iron Man because he wasn't a hugely popular character. Dr. Doom is known for having the mask for a specific reason. There's actual reason for it. And it's canon and it's written. So we won't see anything until the first movie comes out. We won't know what it's going to be. We won't know how it's going to work out. But I'm just saying that in hopes with him coming back, keep the goddamn mask on. Keep the armor on. Let's see it. Let's have fun with it. Now let's get into something else. Actually, I want to see what James has to say. James MCD Reviews is here. The man knows his stuff, and I'll talk about it. Internet people stuck. Stay safe, man. I appreciate you, brother. I'm still not completely sure how to feel other than that this is the most confusing reveals Marvel has ever done. It is. It really is. Between RDJ and the Russos returning, it really smacks of please don't leave. I'm going to say something that people aren't really going to like, especially Marvel fans. I like the Russo brothers. I'm glad they're back. They have the caliber to handle movies like this with casts this big, especially egos. And behind the scenes, you may not think it's important, but directors deal with a lot of egos. They have, a lot of them have their own too. Don't get me wrong. But they deal with so many egos that they have to pull performances out of. And it's understandable when you're an actor and, this is just looking at it from a small amount of experience compared to many. You are dealing with so many emotions that you have to play with at any given time because you're just prepping for whatever this scene is, whatever that emotion calls for, and prepping for the next scene that you have to shoot while technically having to deal with everything. In your head having to pull. So ego gets there. Plus you're, in most cases, celebrities, things like that. So directors have to play with that. They also have their own egos and the producers have to deal with that. It all goes up the link. All goes right there. Now with the Russo brothers don't really have anything I would say is overly memorable besides the 4 Marvel movies. I mean, I'm not saying that the Gray Man wasn't cool. They had some cool action. And I actually kind of dug the story in the Gray Man. Like, I liked his motivations, Ryan Gosling's motivations in it. So I like the Russo brothers. I like the Extraction movies, which I know, I think it was Joe Russo. It might have been Anthony. I'm not sure. I have to look. But Joe Russo, I think, wrote those. And I thought they were pretty good. The action is there. It's stuntman oriented. I think there's room for that. I think that like Fall Guy or other movies that are very stunt centric. I think you need those. I think you need to have all areas of movies. That should be its own genre almost of stunt centric movies. Um, and I think they do a really good job with that. I think they do a really good job putting together stunt centric movies. They make fun action movies. Not all of them are great, but they're fun. And that's needed. That's warranted. Can they do this movie? Fuck yeah, they can do this movie. I'm not going to argue about it. Are they the best choice for the movie? Maybe. Again, I don't have an agenda here. This with the Russos, it's not like me saying like, but I think it's going to, I might have thoughts, but like, again, it's all speculation until we see. Like, I'm not even worried about Robert Downey Jr. with no costume giving a great performance. He will. But is it one that we're going to hold dear? Because if you go back and you watch those movies, he is in that costume a good goddamn in the first movie, and that and all the subsequent movies that he's playing Iron Man in them. Like he was in the Hulk, but he wasn't playing Iron Man. He didn't have that suit. But Avengers, he's wearing the suit quite a bit. Not a lot. I'd actually have to watch it to see if he's wearing the suit more or less than when he's in person. I would venture to guess it's less because, like I said, that was by the time the second movie had come out and a couple of things, and he over time less and less suit time. So by the time you get to it, it's like it's just Tony Stark, and I love it. All right. So, but with that, like the Russos, I'm anxious to see. I think this is where they really excel. I love them on Community as well. I just don't. It could be hit or miss, and plus, I think it's going to depend on the script. I think my hesitation with the Russo brothers is they had 2 movies to set up for Infinity War and Endgame. 2 movies over the course of like 5 or 6 years where they worked a lot of directors. They knew the whole story. They were involved in the MCU. They were really there. They were putting all of the hope, like Kevin Feige and the rest of MCU were putting all of that on them to direct those 2 movies. So they were slated. We knew about them years before it came out. Now we'll know about them. We know about them years before these are going to come out. But they have not really been a part of it. They have not really been a part of the, and it feels like a disconnect. And even Robert Downey Jr. feels like a disconnect, which it should have. They left after the, and bringing him back is okay. But it just feels like too much of a disconnect. There's been too much bad for you to finally bring back in to try and fix things that there's not a lot of faith. And I'm hoping the faith will come back. But I am so excited to get to Doom and get out of this multiverse. And I never thought I would say, like, here's the thing with multiverse. Can multiverse work in movies? I hear a lot of people say, no, it doesn't work. It's too easy. It's too this. It's too that. I would actually hard argue that it's easy because you have a lot and you can do anything. But it's hard because when you're creative and you have that much freedom, I think a lot of creativity, great creative ideas and projects that have come out, things like that, started with the idea that it's under restraints. A lot of these breakout scripts that blow up, they do it because they did something that was interesting because they couldn't write a script that could fit the budget that they had in their mind. And those limitations definitely, I think, help make better stories because they challenge you. And movies, when you're writing them, or anything you're writing, if it's not challenging you or your thoughts, you're never going to make it work. It's too easy then. It's got to be challenging for you. If you're not asking while you're writing, and I'm just going to go by script here, but this works for books, this works for articles, reviews, everything. If you're not asking, like in reviews and nonfiction and stuff like that, like it's not really asking what your character's doing. You need to be more asking, what am I trying to say here? What am I trying to do here? When I'm writing reviews, like I'll write my first draft and I never do paragraphs. I just write it, free write. What did I think about this movie? Blah, 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 blah. Then I go in and I'm refining it. well, I say this here and I say this here, blah, 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 blah. I realize I'm spiraling into a writing thing, but you guys want to know more about writing? Join up. We can do an AMA. Ask me all you want. But let's go back to the topic at hand. So they haven't been involved. They haven't been, like, almost for lack of a better term, breeding these characters. Like Iron Man in Civil War, Captain America starting from Winter Soldier, all of these. So that when we get to it, we know who the main focuses are. We know where we're going. This seems like this seems like oversight, if I'm being real. It seems like oversight, and it was like, get them back, all costs. I don't give a shit. And $80 million for Robert Downey Jr. to come back for 2 movies? First of all, we should have stuck with Kang. If we're going to ride this multiverse out, I'm going to say it right out. We should stick with Kang. Ride him out, but find a new actor. We have done it a million times. I don't know why the MCU is so afraid. And I'm not saying that you can't. And I'm not saying that you can't pass the baton. You can. And I'm not even talking about Black Panther. I'm saying the MCU, Disney in general, seem to have a big issue with recasting Black actors because they don't want to get hits for it. Like, if you recast Black actor, that might be some sort of racial connotation there. We understand why Jonathan Majors, I'm not saying we understand. That's a whole big issue. But I understand why a business with all the stake going into this villain played by this actor has this big turmoil in his life, and that's upending a lot of things. They have to part ways. That's what I understand. I understand having to part ways as a business. Doing what you got to do. Again, going back to my earlier, you got to find your peace and move forward. And if somebody is not in a peaceful mode, sorry, I can't help you at this moment and I got to move forward. I wish you all the best. And that's what they're doing. Now, does that suck for Jonathan Majors? Yeah, I do think it sucks. Very good actor. But it is what it is. No matter what the outcome was, what you put yourself in a situation, and that could have gotten you fired at any job. That's a reality for almost every human being on this planet. If what he did, any one of us did, even if it's just accusations or whatever else, and it was all that, but even if he, whatever it was, we would all be fired. We see it all the time. And it sucks. It really does. Like, I'm not saying that but we shouldn't have that type of control. We didn't. Disney chose this. Disney realized, like, all right, this is in the news. We can't have it. We got to move forward. But they didn't move forward. That's my point here. They didn't move forward. You got rid of the guy, but you didn't move forward. You didn't say, okay, we're going to take back our IP, though. Why do we drop IPs the second? And don't tell me Kang wasn't working. It wasn't Kang that was working. It was your scripts that weren't working. Because Kang was good in it. Should Kang have lost to giant ants and Ant-Man? No. But it's your scripts. It's not him. And the character was working. People were excited to see where it was going to go. And it works. And it fits. And you could have recast Coleman Domingo. And I'm just talking Black actors. And Idris Elba. I said from the beginning, John Washington David. David Washington. I'm sorry, John David Washington. I knew that was wrong because I'm sitting there. I'm like, no, it's not saying about David. Is Denzel's son. So, you have all of these prominent great actors, or making a Black female. I don't care. Just give us the character. Don't give a shit who you cast. I hope you cast somebody good, and don't cast RDJ in that character either. But see, this is where I'm going to argue this. Let me go back to what you were saying. James said, I'm glad the Russos are back too. It feels very cynical on a surface level, bringing them back now. I agree. I feel like they're trying to get the next Avenger movie as quick as possible rather than expand on the characters and streamline the story properly, which is all oversight. Get an Avengers movie out. We need an Avengers movie out. Why? Because we're not selling Avengers merchandise, and we have a ton of it. It's becoming disgusting. Marvel is Disney-fied. I don't care what anybody says. My son, and I realize I'm part of the problem because I was so pissed when I saw this. My son has a pair of pajamas that has all the superheroes on it. That's not a problem. I don't care about that. And it's a nice pair of pajamas. But right in the middle, it says Marvel. That's my problem. Marvel. My son is no longer wearing a superhero on his shirt like we used to want to do, but get beat up for. He's no longer wearing a superhero on his shirt. He's wearing he's wearing backgrounds like outline superheroes and a giant red and white sign that says Marvel. That is Disney to the T. Disney sells that. Disney went from, and I'm talking about them being the worst of it, but Disney went from, all right, we'll make merchandise, we'll make toys because that's going to make a lot of money, to we are the merchandise. You're going to buy something that says Marvel. And when I saw them, like, when I wore comic book character shirts when I was a kid, it's because I looked up to those characters. I looked up to what they stood for. I looked up to who they are. I aspired to be like them in values. I aspired to be like them in helping people. Watching somebody wear a Marvel, even my son wearing a Marvel, that's not aspiring. That's not inspiring. That's nothing. What, you want to be an entrepreneur? Like, get the fuck. Do you think? I mean, I don't know. I didn't know the guy, but I don't think, and I truly choose to believe this about Stan Lee. I don't think Stan Lee wanted anybody wearing a Marvel shirt. I think he wanted him wearing a Captain America or Spider-Man or something. I think he wanted the characters, these entities that he helped create. Same with Jack Kirby. Do you think Jack Kirby wants, I mean, they passed away. They don't care. But at the same time, if they were alive, do you think they'd want somebody just wearing a Marvel shirt unless they worked for him? No, or kids, really, like, all that stuff. It's like, we're not selling what the heroes used to stand for. We're selling merchandise. That's what it is. There's no care. And like, listen, I sell merchandise. I get it. I'm not trying to be hypocritical, but I'm okay with being hypocritical sometimes because it means I'm fucking changing. But anyway, that's just me. But like, I sell merchandise, but when I put care and thought into what I do. Now, if I'm a $1 billion Disney conglomerate, do I care about every little bit? I don't know. I'm never going to be that. It's never going to happen. And it's not, nor do I want to be that. But like, I put thought and care into it. And I'm never going to sell you something that is just a red brick that says the Scene Snobs across it. Because, especially when I have great characters. So you could no, that was a terrible plug, but I didn't mean for it to be. It just kind of went that way. I use myself as an analogy, and it never goes well. My point on it is, like, we see all this stuff. We're bringing all these characters back. We're doing all this. Stop putting your fucking company's name on this shit and start putting your fucking characters on it again and push what they stand for. Maybe I'll be a little bit happier about it. But go back, because I went on my rant there. Kang, I think he should have been brought back. Even if he was brought back or recast and brought back as more of a side character, and you want to build up Doom now. But you're streamlining and you're rushing it. Every great villain in the MCU in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 was built up perfectly over the course of years. And you loved it. And you adapted them perfectly. Now you're not adapting them well. Now you're not playing with them. You're not positioning them well within there. And we have no great villains. And you think just because you say the word Doom and now recast one of our favorite characters played by one of our favorite actors who played him, you're recasting another favorite character for comic book geeks and people who love Doom with that same actor. Listen, I understand the ramifications of having Tony Stark's face on a bad guy, but it's not worth it. Why? Because I didn't need any of the heroes' faces on, with the exception of maybe Winter Soldier, which was a set storyline already. I didn't need I didn't need Thor's face on Loki. I didn't need anyone's face on Thanos. Like, it didn't have to bring back people. You didn't have to bring back famous characters, stuff like that. That's all I'm going to be thinking about now. You know, like the father of the MCU is now a villain. So that's my rant on it. I think they should have stuck with Kang, got out of the multiverse, did the 2 Avengers movies with their new cast. No matter how they did, with some integrity, you can bring back old stuff too, old characters and such too. And then if you want to bring in Doom that way. Bring in Doom where maybe he takes over, and by Secret Wars, he has got Emperor Doom. He took over Kang. Now you got Kang out of the way. It was Doom who did it. Now even more reason. You just built out Kang as this holy mecca of scariness, the Kang dynasty, which you're going to build. Now it's Doomsday. That's another thing too. Every time you change your movies over the course of the years, it gets convoluted and we don't want to do it. So regardless, bring back Kang. Doom kills him, or Doom figures out a way. They have to work with Doom, figures out a way to kill Kang, and then he takes the power, which is exactly what Doom would do in certain situations. That's because it's what he wants. So that's just it for me on RDJ. Kang lost a lot of hype over Quantumania. I think it's a bad thing to pivot from him, which is sad for Jonathan Majors because he was really good. Jonathan Majors was really good, but you can get other great actors to be a part of it. And that was my big thing. It was like, we're going back to the well for no reason whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too much at this point. Like, even one time this big was just too much, but it wasn't one time because Anthony Russo and Joe Russo coming back is going back to the well. There's other talk going on that I can't really talk about, but if you join our Patreon on the paid tier, we have movie news for you, and you can go check it out there. But let's get out of RDJ. Let's talk about something else. You know what? Let's talk about an aspect of Deadpool and Wolverine and how could it work? So I did see Deadpool and Wolverine. I have reviewed it more times right now than I think I can count, but I've loved talking about it every time on all the different shows I've been a part of and stuff like that. So it's been a ton of fun, and it's a huge hit, and I'm wondering if they're going to do everything they wanted to and more this weekend to make the billion, but they have been talking about Spider-Man. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds right now, I think, have a blank check, and they've been talking about Spider-Man. I've heard this kind of been a little bit torn. Like, you can't do this. Maybe you could put them in a movie together, but it can't be a Deadpool movie because you can't have Spider-Man in R-rated movies. Here's where I think it could work. In the multiverse, I hope they don't rush this, because I do think Deadpool, Wolverine, and Tom Holland's would be a really fun choice as a movie, because you have to have comedy. And if you're going to have comedy, yes, Andrew Garfield can play comedy. I don't know about Tobey Maguire. I've seen play too much comedy. Maybe he just seems a little dry to play comedy. Like, I don't think he seems like the youth minister they called him in the movie, playing against Deadpool and Wolverine. Whereas Tom Holland feels like he would feel like a kid who is matched up against these two like vicious people, and I think that would add a lot of funniness to it. Vicious in a way, but you know what I mean, like stone cold killers. And Spider-Man doesn't like to kill, so I think if you could make it work, you don't make it a Spider-Man movie, you make it a Deadpool movie, but you play it up and you say, "Oh, we're going PG-13 with this," and then beep out shit, and like Wolverine hates it. But the whole thing that I think could really make this work is if they have to keep Spider-Man alive for some reason. Some, like, maybe he's being attacked, maybe it could be multiversal. And it would be cool if they remembered, or at least Deadpool remembered, who Peter Parker was. You know, out of everybody, nobody remembers, but like for some reason he remembers. They can figure it out. And then he realizes Wolverine. He's like, we gotta go to the sacred timeline, and we got to protect Spider-Man at all costs. I think the way you make this work, and like and that's how you can get your Sinister Six movie. I understand. Spider-Man versus Sinister Six. Sinister Six is the dream, especially for some. But it in movies, I don't think you can pull it off. I think you could pull it off. I would love to see it, but I don't think that studios are willing to pull it off. I think they want Spider-Man versus Sinister Six, but I don't think they know how to do that. That many villains. Like the closest I think we were going to get to it was No Way Home, which added 2 more Spider-Man to help him fight. So this would make sense. Like if you can get all of the Sinister Six together and Deadpool and Wolverine having to help protect Spider-Man, because he's like, they're killers. They'll kill him. he refuses to kill. But to see him play off of each other, but to see Deadpool realize in his own movie he has to be subdued. He can't curse. He can't do those things. I think would add a funnier element to it. Like every time he fucks up or something or says something like or Wolverine does, he's got to be on top of him. I think you played off well, but if you're going to do it, get him a scene in Secret Wars together. Make sure they have a scene in Secret Wars together. Make sure it's a prominent scene that's fun. Deadpool loves the kid and just wants to be friends with him. Wolverine likes him because Wolverine always likes Spider-Man too. So like, he always gives like, so that you need that, but you add that into Secret Wars, you really cement them together, some funny scenes with them and some action scenes with them. And you can make a movie. It could be kind of cool. It would be an interesting one to say for sure, like to see those two go in, but that's my stance on it. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do that. What do you guys think? Sound off. Let's see what James is saying. A Spidey movie would be a ton of fun, but the dynamic would kind of be weird considering this version of Peter Parker is fresh out of high school. Unless they do a time jump. I think it would be funnier if they're there to protect them. It gives that element of why they're there. They met in Secret Wars. He can't stand Deadpool. He thinks Wolverine's just insane. They come. They find out this plan. Like the TVA is like, oh no, maybe he's another life being. Because I don't know. I love Wolverine, but I don't know how he can be an anchor being. But Spider-Man's not an anchor being. He better be. But that would be funny. Like if that anchor being was suffering like one of his biggest things, it'd be really cool to see Deadpool. Oh no, I can't do that. I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it because I feel stupid, but I'll leave it alone. All right. That could be cool. I would pay all the money in the world to hear Deadpool say it's Morbin time. Oh my God. You could do a whole thing at the end too, where Deadpool, they save Spider-Man. He's good. They do it Spider-Man's way without killing people. And then Deadpool goes through and he's like, all right, I'm not going to kill everyone. I'm going to respect the people in his world, but I'm going to kill Spider-Man villains elsewhere because he didn't get to kill everybody. And he goes after Morbius. He goes I just feel like it would be a funny thing. You have to make it funny because it doesn't work. That's when Spider-Man, I think, in the comics, like when he's teamed up with like really funny characters or really against type characters, I think that's when Spider-Man, his comedy shines. His comedy shines all the way throughout. I think a lot of people don't realize like the movie versions of Peter Parker and his jokes are not too accurate. He's very funny, dude. That's why Deadpool loves him. Even though he's generally not being funny with Deadpool. So I think that's imperative. I think you need to show him with his comedy now. And the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine will know who he is by the end of it, I think that'd be great. Like everybody just looks at him as Spider-Man, but then by the end of that, a movie with the three of them, and it's just sort of a one-shot, one-off type movie, but you can have the TVA, you can have multiversal elements, you can have this, that, or the other thing. Or maybe they go back to the Void. Maybe they all go back to the Void. Maybe a crazy Mr. Paradox or somebody else from the TVA prunes Spider-Man to be chaotic. And I can't remember the actor's name or the character's name from Loki, but she runs the TVA now. She was just in Deadpool Wolverine. Comes back and tells them, we need you out. We're going to need you. You got to save him. He's in the Void. Everyone is after him. Now you can have Sinister Six characters from the past, all different types from all different universes. You can add all the stuff you need to add. It's in the Void. When they get out, get back to New York, maybe whatever was happening in New York, like in Spider-Man's world, they need to get rid of him so that way they could do it. And by that time, it's a race to get back out so they can stop him. Very similar to Deadpool and Wolverine. Very similar to Deadpool Wolverine. I'm not going to but it's a formula that works. I'm not gonna say it's not. I know it is, but it's a formula that works. I truly believe that. And you can have new elements in it. Let's be real. Deadpool and Wolverine was a lot of fun. It was great fan service. It was a great Marvel movie. It was a great. It's not a great like it has. It's very simple movie in terms of narrative. But I'm okay with that. I've never had a problem with simple narratives if the movies are really good, the acting's good, and everything else. So I think that's where you do it. You keep it simple. You keep them simple. What are they there for? And if you don't want to have the destruction in New York, like where they're fighting everybody or wondering why nobody else is joining in at that time, take it to the Void. You've already introduced the Void. You can introduce anybody you want in the Void. I think that works for Deadpool's world. I think you can bring in other characters to do it. That's just where I can stand with Spider-Man. But I'd like to see him. I'd like to see them do a movie. There's also talk about possible Hulk versus Wolverine movie. I mean, not against it, but I'd rather see a World War Hulk movie, and then you could throw Wolverine in there. I think that would be a lot more fun. You've already started introducing things, but that's the thing with Marvel. You've already started introducing storylines and shows that didn't do well or movies that didn't do well. And then you abandon those storylines, but the fans aren't against those storylines. Like, we want to know what happened with the Hulk's son. That wasn't the greatest way to learn it. And She-Hulk wasn't the greatest show, but I didn't think it was very convoluted, very fourth wall broken. And I don't think they did it in a way smart enough that Deadpool does it, where you can break the fourth wall. Possible. And she was a good character. I like Tatiana Maslany, and I liked her in that role, so I don't mind seeing her show up more. But yeah, it just wasn't funny enough. Like, it had some funny moments, but it just wasn't. It seemed too unbelievable with everything they were putting up with in that show. Whereas in Deadpool and Wolverine, none of it seemed unbelievable for those characters. So I dug that. They set it up. I will see what happens. So they really need to get this train back on track. It's just not working as well. Oh man, I went over an hour. Sweet. Well, guys, I had a lot to say today. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. Again, join up on our Patreon. So it's there for join for free tier or paid tier. Paid tier, it all goes back to helping us build the channel, helping us, do everything we need to do. The free tier, of course, you get lots of perks with that as well. Right now we're doing a giveaway. Like I said, if you missed that in the beginning of the show, we are doing a giveaway of the popcorn bucket and the Wolverine cup to 2 wonderful winners of our Patreon. And it's just going to be picked at random through the wheel. We're going to pick off the wheel. And one winner will win the head pool popcorn bucket, and one winner will win the Wolverine cup. And they're pretty cool. We have some videos out with them and stuff, and I did a full review, so you can go check that out as well. But yeah, they're pretty cool. I do dig them, and I hope you guys dig them as well. But I hope you guys like the show as well too. So we're gonna be moving again. Just to recap a little bit, we are going to be on the Scene Snobs. We're going to be moving all of our live shows in 10 weeks after the 350th and 5-year anniversary special. So that will be our 350th episode on August 8th, 5-year anniversary special. We're super stoked for that. It's going to be live. It's going to be on everything. We hope you'll enjoy it. We're going to lead up to that. And then after that, all of our lives are going over to Patreon and Discord, of course. So like you can become a member of the Discord by joining the Patreon for free or paid tier. Both get you into the Discord. Then you can just be a part of it, hang out with us, and like you can watch all our videos. All of our videos from YouTube are now going to start coming out on at that point are going to start coming out on Patreon only, and then they'll eventually get over to YouTube. But it's our Snob Nation world right now. So like that's the hubs right there. You got to be a patron and you get into the Discord. That's how you can be part of Snob Nation and really connect with us. You can also be a part of Snob Nation just by watching, hanging out, commenting, being a part of it. And we'd love you to be a part of that. But we love movies, and we know you do too. So join up with Snob Nation, hang out with us over there, watch our live shows, comment along, watch our videos that we're putting out, hang out with them. Make sure you subscribe to the channels. Make sure you like and make sure you comment, because that really helps us go a long way. That pushes things so other people get to see it as well. It's the name of the game. So we appreciate it anytime you can do that and support us. We appreciate you guys. If you haven't, let's just see. James says, off topic, have you seen the clips of Deadpool at Disney parks? I never thought I'd hear a Disney character make grinder jokes. I have not, but I think I need to check that out. I didn't realize that was on there, but I will definitely go check that out. But guys, we do have other shows. We are doing the SnobNation Morning Show. It's Friday mornings around 8. I'm thinking about moving over to Sundays because then I can do every Sunday. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want to do the Sunday mornings, talk about stuff? And what topics do you guys want to talk about? Again, this will be moving over to the Patreon as well, and that's where the lives will be. And then they will be available over on the YouTube channel, maybe about a week or so after. But if you want to do it live or you want to see it up to date or see all that stuff, actually, no, the SnobNation Morning Show will not be going to YouTube at all. We will cut it up in clips and put some clips up. But for the most part, SnobNation and Get Geeked, our other show, where you pick the topics, those are going to be just primarily on Patreon if you want to watch the whole thing. We have other shows too. We have Warp Factor Fiction coming back very soon. We're going to come back and talk about the animated series, Star Trek animated series, and we're going to do all the movies, and then we're getting into Next Generation. I cannot wait. I'm super stoked. So we're going to do that. I hope you guys will join it, be a part of it, hang out with us, have a good old time, and do it. If not, I love you guys. Please keep watching as it comes out. Hang out with us. Follow us on social media and stuff. Stay in the know, and then you can see what comes out and stuff like that. You will be able to get the podcast on audio version on all podcast platforms right after the lives, but the live show after the 5th anniversary will only be on our YouTube, and you can catch it there, and then maybe a week later that will be out on YouTube. All right, but until next time, guys, make sure to go check out this week's podcast. We talked about horror movie songs, all just different songs from horror movies. We had a really good time. It was another mixtape episode. This episode coming up, we're going to be talking about the Olympics and more. And then go check out our review. We checked out Deadpool and Wolverine. I got a little in depth here, and now I'm getting a little more in depth. And like I said, join up so that way you can win one of these. Or maybe both. I don't know. Well, no, we take your name off after you win one, so probably not both. But until next time, guys, I'm Mick Manhattan from the Scene Snobs. I appreciate you joining in, appreciate you hanging out, and appreciate you being a part of it. But until then, I will talk to you guys very soon. Remember to be kind, stay classy, and I'll talk to you. Remember to be kind, stay classy, and take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you. Take care. Damn, I forgot.